1550 features video snippets from Chicks on the Right. Disaster. Also from Devory Darkins, Trump win. Plus from Beck, White House, and wrapping up with Wendy Bell. Highlights begin today, May 2nd, 2025, at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Don't miss this great lineup.
Help keep free speech alive. Please join my Locals community for exclusive content at dailynewsupdate.locals.com. Simply click the join button below.
From Chicks on the Right, Democrat Disaster Tour. Hillary heckled, Bernie gets lost, and Kamala charges how much?
From Devory Darkins, Trump strikes foreign policy win as judge issues shocking ruling.
From Beck, what I saw at the White House reveals who Trump really is.
And from Wendy Bell Radio, we paid for it.
Don't miss this great live stream with Murtech on Rumble tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. The link is in the description box below. Thank you for all your support and may God bless. Oh, by the way, don't forget to follow me and click the thumbs up button. Thanks again. Hi everybody! Today's episode 1550 features video snippets from Chicks on the Right, Disaster, also from Devory Darkins, Trump win. Plus from Beck, White House, and wrapping up with Wendy Bell. Highlights begin today, May 2nd, 2025, at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Don't miss this great lineup.
Help keep free speech alive. Please join my Locals community for exclusive content at dailynewsupdate.locals.com. Simply click the join button below.
From Chicks on the Right, Democrat Disaster Tour. Hillary heckled, Bernie gets lost, and Kamala charges how much?
From Devory Darkins, Trump strikes foreign policy win as judge issues shocking ruling.
From Beck, what I saw at the White House reveals who Trump really is.
And from Wendy Bell Radio, we paid for it.
Don't miss this great live stream with Murtech on Rumble tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. The link is in the description box below. Thank you for all your support and may God bless. Oh, by the way, don't forget to follow me and click the thumbs up button. Thanks again. Hi everybody! Today's episode 1550 features video snippets from Chicks on the Right, Disaster, also from Devory Darkins, Trump win. Plus from Beck, White House, and wrapping up with Wendy Bell. Highlights begin today, May 2nd, 2025, at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Don't miss this great lineup.
Help keep free speech alive. Please join my Locals community for exclusive content at dailynewsupdate.locals.com. Simply click the join button below.
From Chicks on the Right, Democrat Disaster Tour. Hillary heckled, Bernie gets lost, and Kamala charges how much?
From Devory Darkins, Trump strikes foreign policy win as judge issues shocking ruling.
From Beck, what I saw at the White House reveals who Trump really is.
And from Wendy Bell Radio, we paid for it.
Don't miss this great live stream with Murtech on Rumble tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. The link is in the description box below. Thank you for all your support and may God bless. Oh, by the way, don't forget to follow me and click the thumbs up button. Thanks again. Hi everybody. Today's episode 1550 features video snippets from Chicks on the Right, Disaster, also from Devory Darkins, Trump Win. Plus from Beck, White House, and wrapping up with Wendy Bell. Highlights begin today, May 2nd, 2025, at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Don't miss this great lineup.
Help keep free speech alive. Please join my locals community for exclusive content at dailynewsupdate.locals.com. Simply click the join button below.
From Chicks on the Right, Democrat Disaster Tour. Hillary heckled, Bernie gets lost, and Kamala charges how much?
From Devory Darkins, Trump strikes foreign policy win as judge issues shocking ruling.
From Beck, what I saw at the White House reveals who Trump really is.
And from Wendy Bell Radio, we paid for it.
Don't miss this great live stream with Murtech on Rumble tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. The link is in the description box below. Thank you for all your support and may God bless. Oh, by the way, don't forget to follow me and click the thumbs up button. Thanks again. Hi everybody. Today's episode 1550 features video snippets from Chicks on the Right, Disaster, also from Devory Darkins, Trump Win. Plus from Beck, White House, and wrapping up with Wendy Bell. Highlights begin today, May 2nd, 2025, at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Don't miss this great lineup.
Help keep free speech alive. Please join my locals community for exclusive content at dailynewsupdate.locals.com. Simply click the join button below.
From Chicks on the Right, Democrat Disaster Tour. Hillary heckled, Bernie gets lost, and Kamala charges how much?
From Devory Darkins, Trump strikes foreign policy win as judge issues shocking ruling.
From Beck, what I saw at the White House reveals who Trump really is.
And from Wendy Bell Radio, we paid for it.
Don't miss this great live stream with Murtech on Rumble tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. The link is in the description box below. Thank you for all.
Hi, everybody. This is John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Alrighty, I'm on Rumble Studio. Here we are on May the 2nd in the year of our Lord 2024. Let me come over here and there we are. Okay, so the reason I'm using Rumble Studio, I've switched from OBS, which is on, I forget what OBS stands for, but it's a broadcasting system. Instead of using that, I'm using Rumble Studio because on Rumble Studio, I can actually share this information on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time that I'm running it on Rumble. So hopefully that'll help out. But at any rate, let's go. I've got a lot of great information for you today. So let's go ahead and click over here on Murtech on Rumble. And this is the live stream that you're looking at right here. Okay. So click over here on Murtech on Rumble. We pause that. Okay. Let's scroll down here to the description box and expand that out. And I've already put out a live chat. So let's close that. Okay, we have Chicks on the Right. We have Devory Darkins, Glenn Beck, and Wendy Bell. But before we get into that, I do have shout outs as usual. Let's see. Crestline just started following my channel. Nefiler just started following my channel. C Raymond 13 just started following my channel. All right, also Lightning Tree Brand and Debbie BS commented on my episode 1549. Uncloudy commented on my extra 335D, and Debbie BS commented on my extra 335C. So let me give this a thumbs up, and I hope you give me a thumbs up as well. All right. Let me see here. Yep, there we go. All right, I'm kind of watching this as we go along here, but let's get started with this and start out with Devory Darkins. Trump strikes foreign policy win as judge issues shocking ruling. No, I'm sorry. Chicks on the Right. Democrat disaster tour. Hillary heckled Bernie, gets lost, and Kamala changes how much. As you can see here, hi, I'm actually able to, you can see me. I believe this is the first time that I've ever actually been live with the video. But let's go ahead and get this started with Chicks on the Right. Pause that and move it back. Let's give you a full screen here. Here we go. Please enjoy.
So Bernie, listen, how is he? 83? How old is he?
175 years old.
I mean, he's really, really old. So it's expected at this point, unless you're Trump, who is a freaking Energizer Bunny anomaly. I don't understand how he is as in good shape as he is. But Bernie, not in that good shape. Now, he's not Biden, but he's getting there. So he was walking onto, it was an outdoor rally, and he was walking up to the podium. And I think Jayapal was there, other people were there. And there's a bunch of people that are situated and positioned behind the podium with their signs, and they're there to look at, there's a great crowd behind him. He thought that's who he was supposed to talk to.
Yikes!
And so there was this moment where they had to redirect him, and it was just kind of yikes. Here it is.
Oh my God. No idea. Who do I talk to? Oh, what's going on? He's all hunched over too.
Sisters and brothers, welcome to your nation's capital.
Mr. Sanders.
You're going to be on this side.
You're gonna
be on this side. All right.
Oh, God.
Well,
The mics would have probably given that.
Right.
You probably would have been able to know that by looking at the microphones. You've done this before, right? Oh, I've never done it before. Oh my God, this guy. It's like, wow.
That was a little cringe, you guys.
Term limits, you guys. We need term limits.
Yeah,
Really.
he definitely doesn't need to be on a presidential ticket. Either him on top of a ticket with AOC or him on the bottom of that ticket with AOC.
He doesn't even need to be there at all. Yeah, it's like
No.
there's so many of these like nursing home rejects that are out there just taking our money. That guy's been taking our money since he didn't have a job until he was 40. He lived in his parents' basement. And then at 40, he's like, I think I'll go into government.
Yeah. And that's all he's ever done.
All he's ever done. This guy is such a colossal loser.
Speaking of losers, Kamala is going to be giving a speech tonight. And amazingly, she's charging for it. If you want to be like a sponsored table at the speech, I don't know, it's like some crazy amount of money, $50,000 or something. But just to get in to hear Kamala, which I feel like people have reached the limit with which they are no longer willing to put.
Some have, I guess. But how much? You said how much?
Well, $50,000 to sponsor, $250 just to get into that event.
Oh my God!
Who is buying that?
And is she getting all that? Is she getting all the money? Is that what?
It's fundraising for something.
So
I don't know.
She's getting all the money. It's fundraising.
I don't know. I don't want to put that out there because I genuinely don't know what the fundraiser is for.
All right, so it's like fundraising, but you know how there's like if we actually followed the money, I'd love to see how much of that she gets.
And it gets even worse, you guys, because not only does it cost $250 to go in person, if you want to just zoom in and hear her, which I don't know. Who are you, right?
Who are you?
It's $25. You have to pay just to listen online to her talk. I could not believe that this is a thing. So it's the Emerge America fundraiser. And she's charging $25 to watch her live stream.
I wonder how long she's going to talk about being unburdened. Unburdened.
Right.
Good Lord. It is a grift, isn't it? It's a total grift, Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's paying for that? I mean, like, who would actually spend, like, who's like, I have got to hear what she has to say?
Well, they're the same people who are out there looking at Bernie and AOC. Those are the same. They're the same people.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Canada, speaking of China obviously unleashed utter hell on the world with the China virus. And Canada, with socialized medicine and potentially becoming a 51st state, there are some serious issues to contend with around healthcare and those two countries. And that is why you should have in your back pocket or in your medicine cabinet a stockpile of your own medications to have on hand in case of...
Okay, they're going into a commercial here, so let's go ahead and get past that. In fact, that may be the end of the video. Okay, there you have it, the chicks. All right, let's slide down here and show you that this video does come from Chicks on the Right. And so there we have it. Turn the camera on here. I've subscribed to their channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's get back here to the description box and move on to Devory Darkins. Okay, Trump strikes foreign policy when as judge issues shocking ruling. Pretty amazing. Okay.
Breaking news, President Trump has...
Let me pause this and get it back here. All right. Here we go.
So in breaking news, President Trump has got a huge win here. Ukraine has signed the rare earth minerals agreement. A California judge is now blocking Border Patrol from arresting illegal aliens. and Democrats want to invoke the 25th Amendment against the president.
The U.S. and Ukraine finally inking that long-awaited so-called minerals deal, establishing an economic partnership in recognition of U.S. support to Ukraine. The Treasury Department announcing that this is a signal to Russia that the U.S. is committed to a peace that's centered on a free, sovereign, and prosperous Ukraine. Also saying no state or person who funded the Russian war machine, or supplied it rather, will be allowed to benefit from Ukraine's reconstruction. This news is a bright spot after a cloudy GDP report today that the president blamed on his predecessor.
This is a huge announcement and a major win for President Trump. Now, what are both sides saying about this announcement? On the left, you got people claiming that this is once again President Trump exploiting Ukraine. Can you believe that? They call him an economic bully. Now, we know why they speak this way, because everything is anti-Trump. They cannot agree with the president on anything, even if it's the right thing to agree on. And obviously on the right, we support this. This is a great move. When we are economically tied, when we have skin in the game, it's in our interest as America to get this war over as soon as possible, instead of just throwing money at it like we've done for many years now, and we haven't gotten anything in return. Now let's hear from the Treasury Secretary, who made the official announcement with this video. Take a listen.
Thanks to President Trump's tireless efforts to secure a lasting peace, I am glad to announce the signing of today's historic economic partnership agreement between the United States and Ukraine, establishing the United States-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund. This partnership allows the United States to invest alongside Ukraine to unlock Ukraine's growth assets, mobilize American talent, capital, and governance standards that will improve Ukraine's investment climate and accelerate Ukraine's economic recovery. The Development Finance Corporation will participate and help to establish this fund in collaboration with the government of Ukraine. Today's agreement signals clearly to Russian leadership that the Trump administration is committed to a peace process centered on a free, sovereign, and prosperous Ukraine over the long term. It's time for this cruel and senseless war to end. The killing must stop, and both the United States and the government of Ukraine look forward to quickly operationalizing this historic economic partnership for both the Ukrainian and American people.
Now, to get into the weeds for a moment here, under this deal, the United States will gain privileged first in-line access to Ukraine's most valuable untapped resources: oil, natural gas, aluminum, graphite, and other critical minerals that power everything from fighter jets to electric vehicles. So this isn't symbolic, folks. It's strategic. And even though both Republicans and Democrats have been writing blank checks to Ukraine for many years now, it took until President Trump to finally get something in writing where we are finally going to get a return on our investment. Now, one of the concessions that President Trump had to make here to pull this off is there will be no repayment of past aid from America. So all the money that we sent over there that went down the drain, well, Ukraine doesn't owe us any of that. And there was also breaking news earlier today where a federal judge has banned ICE agents from arresting illegal aliens without a warrant. Hear this.
All right, another judicial pushback against President Trump's immigration crackdown. This comes after dozens were arrested in January during Border Patrol's Operation Return to Sender, where agents rounded up people determined to have entered the who were determined to have entered the country illegally. Yesterday, California District Judge Jennifer Thurston demanded CBP agents cannot arrest suspected illegal migrants without a warrant or reason to believe the person is a flight risk before they can get one.
So let's understand exactly the implications of this story and why it's really a big deal, if you ask me. And I'm going to use Ground News to make my point here. So if you guys want to check this out on your own, just go to ground.news/Devory. Now, this tool shows.
Okay, he's going into a commercial here, so let's go ahead and get past that. But isn't that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard of? You can't arrest an illegal immigrant, an illegal alien, without a warrant. So, okay, if a policeman happens to be driving by a jewelry store and he sees someone smash the window and start grabbing necklaces and rings and watches does that mean he can't arrest that person without a warrant? Okay, breaking the law is breaking the freaking law. So, where do these judges come off doing that? I certainly hope that they don't have to issue 20 million warrants for these illegal aliens that have come into our country. These aliens that have come into our country illegally, unfrickin' believable. All right.
An unprecedented situation where there's a lot of abuses of nationwide injunctions, sort of seemingly designed to curtail your power, specifically when it comes to deporting these illegal, violent aliens that came in under the previous administration. Have you spoken to your team about ways to mitigate this and continue to deliver for the American people on that aspect?
There are ways to mitigate it, and there's some very strong ways. There's one way that's been used by 3 very highly respected presidents, but we hope we don't have to go that route. But there is one way that has been used very successfully by 3 presidents, all highly respected. And hopefully we don't have to go that way. But there are ways of mitigating that.
Now, I'm actually going to get into what the president was suggesting there, which nobody wants him to do, by the way. But first, let me just show you how the media is already reacting to this entire story. The Huffington Post put this: California judge temporarily halts Border Patrol's warrantless stops, slams targeting of brown skin. That is the MO of people on the left. It's always about skin color. Now, here's an article that leans right from The Blaze. District judge throws up major roadblocks for Border Patrol agents in California. And the interesting thing about this story is there's bias on both sides. But sometimes when a story comes out, only one side will talk about it. And that's called blind spot, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, Ground News will help you see that. And the bottom line here is, so your own self to do is go to Ground Kory plan.
This is what the Supreme Court has said recently. They said you can deport people. You can deport people even under the Enemy and Aliens Act for foreign policy differences. But you have to get it right. You have to get your day in court. Now, there's a debate on the facts with some of these, so-called Maryland dad or the so-called man who beats his wife, depending on who you pay attention to. His suspension, some people say he didn't get due process, but the other side says he did. It's really a dispute over the facts. But most people would argue that he has gotten due process. He had a couple of trials, and he's had a couple of eviction notices. But I think having no process and kicking people out, having no habeas corpus would be a big mistake and would go against the traditions of our country.
So habeas corpus is exactly what President Trump was suggesting when he was answering that reporter's question. Now, if you don't know what that means in simple terms, if I'm a law enforcement officer and I arrest you, you have to have your day in court. I cannot just throw you in prison and walk away. Okay. And the bottom line here is if President Trump is thinking about suspending this, I think it's a slippery slope. I think politically it's dangerous. And I don't think anybody wants to hear that we are suspending someone's right to have their day in court. Now, that is my own personal opinion. I think he's done everything you can ask a president to do to try to keep America safe by deporting illegal aliens. Now, Rand Paul did acknowledge the hypocrisy here. Take a look.
Sure. And really quickly, Senator, I only got about 20 seconds left. Then the solution would be to have a government that doesn't break its own laws, then to allow rampant, uncontrolled illegal immigration the way this government has over a half century.
Yeah. For example, when you look at it, what's happened is on the way in, there was no sort of process to get rid of criminals, but now they want a process for evicting criminals. So it is definitely hypocritical, and I'm all for arresting the criminals. I love the criminals that have been arrested in Boston and deported. I'm all for it. I think the people of Boston probably are too. So I think you'll find it's popular, but we still have to obey some rules in the way we do it.
Now, circling back to that cabinet meeting where President Trump suggested suspending habeas corpus, Marco Rubio was asked a question about Mr. Garcia, the illegal alien deported back to El Salvador, and I think you will enjoy his answer. Take a look.
Secretary Rubio, can I ask you a question? You brought up El Salvador in your remarks. Have you been in touch with El Salvador about returning Abrego Garcia? Has a formal request from this administration been made?
Well, I would never tell you that. And you know who else I'll never tell? A judge. Because the conduct of our foreign policy belongs to the President of the United States and the executive branch, not some judge. So we will conduct foreign policy appropriately if we need to, but I'll never discuss it. And no one will ever make us discuss it because that's how foreign policy works.
And that is the official position of the White House. They're not going to compromise here. They're not going to meet you halfway on this. They're stubborn. They want people to know that they're taking this very seriously and they don't believe they have to explain themselves to the court. Now, obviously, for scholars out there and people on the left, that bugs them. But legally, they have a right to do this. Now, I think you would rather know and understand why they feel this way. Well, listen to the explanation from Tulsi Gabbard. Take a look.
Just the other day, we found 700 alien terrorists who have ties to MS-13, Tren de Aragua, and the Sinaloa cartel. Just yesterday, our NCTC identified almost 600 individuals with ties to other terrorists who came through our borders illegally, claimed asylum, and under the Biden administration were paroled here within our borders.
And that's the explanation on why President Trump is so hell-bent on this, because he gets triggered every time he hears that there are TDA, MS-13, foreign terrorist organizations that were allowed to just walk into this country. Now, obviously not figuratively speaking, but because the enforcement of our immigration laws, particularly border security, was so laxed over the last 4 years, these people didn't have a hard time finding their way into our country and ultimately into our communities. So I understand the frustration here, and hopefully you do too. All right, now we go to our next story, where Democrats have spent today arguing that President Trump is unfit to serve. They're planning to encourage Republicans to push for the 25th Amendment. I know, it's a joke if you ask me. Let's hear more on that now.
Now it's come to this. As President Trump hit his 100-day mark yesterday, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries tried to take a swipe at the president over his cognitive abilities.
Trump spent the last year and a half questioning the cognitive ability of President Joe Biden, notwithstanding many of the legislative accomplishments that Donald Trump could only wish he got over the finish line. And so I think it's fair that a lot of Americans across the country that I run into are questioning whether Donald Trump is actually fit at this point to be able to carry out the duties of the United States of America in terms of being the president and the commander in chief.
Well, I don't know whether it's incompetence, cognitive abilities, ignorance, or just plain flat out lying. But Donald Trump doesn't know that a photo he's showing is photoshopped. He doesn't know that the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 against him. He's got Elon Musk in the Oval Office doing press conferences. He doesn't understand what trade deficits are and is tanking our economy. So you can call it whatever you want, but it's been a pretty disastrous first 100 days.
And this is how Democrats become out of touch. I'm all for disagreement, people. I don't mind it. That's why I like showing you guys both sides. In fact, some of you guys probably get annoyed with me. Why are you showing me MSNBC? Why are you showing me CNN? It's not because I support those channels. It's that I want you to see, here's what the left is saying, here's what the right is saying, here are the facts, and here's my opinion. That way you get all the information you need to make your own decision on what you want to believe in. But when Democrats start talking like this about invoking the 25th Amendment, given what we just experienced over the past 4 years, that's when politics starts to alienate people.
First of all, I could debate you on each and every one of those things you just laid out, but I don't think you can call it whatever you want. I think that's an incorrect statement, Congressman. I think words have meaning and they matter. And I think you know that. I think we have to be careful with our words, especially if we're not trying to inflame the public, and most certainly if we're trying to arrive at the truth. And after 4 years of having us gaslighted over the competency, the mental acuity of the previous president, it's absurd to question, even if you disagree, Congressman, and clearly you do with much of the president, the competency of the sitting president today. I think the accuracy and truth of those words do matter.
Well, I don't think he's competent, Will. I don't know what to tell you. Whether his cognitive abilities are sufficient to get past the 25th Amendment, we don't know that right now. But I think what is clear is that he has driven our country into a disastrous economy. He has undermining the fundamental rule of law and democracy. He is taking away benefits in order to cut taxes for the rich. I think even you, Will, would have to agree with me that this first 100 days is not at all what he promised the American people.
It's on people. Yeah. Now, here's the actual. Now, in regards to the congressman, this is all political theater. So let's just talk about something that actually matters. Republicans in Congress, it's on them for the next 100 days. They need to codify exactly what President Trump has accomplished with his executive orders, also with D.O.G.E and what Elon Musk has also uncovered. And if they failed to do that, a lot of this work would have been for nothing. And so we'll see if Republicans can get this done. Now, let's get your guys' opinion in the comment section below. America and Ukraine finally have a rare earth mineral agreement signed in place. This obviously binds us economically, and we will finally be able to get a return on investment as it pertains to Ukraine. So let me know what you guys think about that huge win for President Trump and ultimately for America. Now, last night, President Trump had an interview with ABC News, and it went like most of them do, and that is President Trump ripping the interviewer. And also, Chuck Schumer got some bad news today as a new poll has dropped, and I think you're going to want to hear it for yourself. So if you want to check out that video, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up right now.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause that and show you that this video does come from Devory Darkins. I'm subscribed to his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here to the description box and show you that. Let me come over here to Murtech.com. And Devory Darkins was talking about a video that he dropped yesterday. Okay, if you come to Murtech.com, and then the link to Murtech.com is in the description box, and you go here to Devory Darkins, it's going to show you right here all the videos. Here's the video I believe that he was talking about in his video. Okay, so let's come back here. Actually, let's come over to here and scoot on down to Glenn Beck. What I saw at the White House reveals who Trump really is. Okay, well, they were talking about using the 25th Amendment for Donald Trump. It's amazing the hypocrisy these Democrats have. I do not understand how they get by with it. Now, giving that reporter credit on Fox News, he did call him on it. But man, how the people that vote Democrat can say, oh yeah, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Unbelievable. All right, let's go see what Glenn Beck has to say.
I just sent some photos, I think we're posting them up now. If you happen to be watching us right now, I want you just to see these photos. These are the things that we just took along the way. Now, this is Donald Trump and I. We're downstairs where the tours go, and he's got the picture. And you saw this maybe if you follow the White House, their X or Instagram. It's a painting of Laura Bush and Hillary Clinton, and he's got a picture of him almost like a warrior with warrior paint on his face in between. And my favorite picture is the one that follows it, and it is this one, because he's turning around and he's buttoning his coat. And we're going to take a picture together, and he's turning around. And he goes, "It's driving them out of their minds," and I'm just laughing because I'm like, this guy is just trolling, non-stop trolling. I love this. It's driving them crazy, and they have no idea that he's trolling them.
It seems like he's got a lot of important things to do, and this is where he gets his joy.
It is. It is.
Just screwing with the media.
It is.
It's like what makes him happy outside of his actual hard work.
It takes him 20 seconds walking down a hall and going, you know what? You know that painting of me with the war paint, put it between. That's all it took.
Right.
That's all it took.
Has caused multiple news stories to be written and viral reaction and everything else.
Now here's a picture of the two of us, Matanya and I, sitting at the desk in front of the president, and the president is telling us about all of the paintings that he just hung up. Everything that the New York Times says, he wants to be a dictator. He's explaining it to me. It was important to him because I think he knew I would understand, and he is explaining, this is why I'm doing all of this stuff. And he has just said, you see the painting of George Washington behind there? That hasn't been seen since Reagan, yada, yada, yada. And that's Tanya and I looking back at the painting. This is me standing as he's talking about the Declaration of Independence. This is me standing in front of the Declaration of Independence, just reading it and looking at it. It's in pristine condition. Now, if you want to be a dictator, why would you put that right next to your desk? Why?
It's the ultimate non-dictator document.
Yes.
Right?
Here's
anti-dictator.
Next one is Tanya and I looking up at another painting as he's telling us about it. This is the two of us on the back patio as we're walking out. He's taking us someplace, and he walks out and he's like, "Let me tell you about the J.E." Because as we pass it, I said, "This place pisses me off every time." And he said, "What do you mean? The Rose Garden?" And I said, "It pisses me off every single time." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "Because of what they did to Melania. All they did was bash her and say how she wrecked the Rose Garden when she took the original plans from J.E. and restored the garden exactly the same way." And he just looked at me and he goes, "I don't even understand it." I said, "I don't. They just hate. They just hate it. The facts don't matter." And then he starts telling me some other things that are coming. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch." I had horrible pain in my hands. I had a hard time moving them. I could barely work with them. I couldn't write or type or anything. I tried everything. And it's 3 weeks. This is a picture. The next one is a picture of us down in, I'm not sure which one this is, maybe the yellow room down towards the basement. And we were downstairs. We were going by the library, and he was talking about stuff. And he's like, oh, I got to show you this. He's exactly like I am when I get over to the museum. His head would explode if he came over to the museum. His head would explode. The two of us would just, because he's exactly like I am. When I get to a tour over the museum, nobody can stop me. Everybody's like, "Glenn, you've got all these," and I'm like, yeah. Wait, just a minute. And I'm so excited to share all of history. That's what he is doing. He's not boasting. He's so excited to show American history. And we walked into this room, and he was like, "Oh, you got to see this painting." And this is where I understood he really knows art. He's like, "You got to see this painting." And he comes in, all these beautiful paintings. And this is the room where, before he talks about the painting, I said, "Let me ask you something, Mr. President. I know you're Donald J. Trump, but," and he stopped me. And I was kind of frustrated because he was like, "Oh, absolutely." And I thought, he doesn't know what I'm going to ask. He did know. I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Every day I get up and I think, I can't believe I'm allowed in this house. I can't believe I'm in this house." So you want to talk about humble? Does that sound like a dictator? Does that sound like a dictator, New York Times? So he goes in and he's like, "Look at this painting." And it's the painting of J.E. It is stunning, this painting of J.E. And this is us in that room. Now, do any of those things sound like a dictator? Any of them? Any of them? I have to tell you, I didn't sign a non-disclosure on one thing but I, out of respect for him, I'm not going to say it until I get permission from somebody at the White House. And I know he's on his way to Rome today to go pay his respects to the Pope. But I can't, I want to show, because I have the photographic evidence of something that will blow your mind about this guy. And I know if I ask, they're going to say, "No, please don't. But I have it. They don't know I have it, and they didn't make me sign a confidence. It was captured during a moment while we were filming, so I have the right to do it. But I want to do it so badly, but I'm not going to, out of respect for him. But I know he's going to say, no, you can't show that. But I have to tell you, we airbrushed something out of a photo that has been released. My wife caught it, and she's like, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Look at this." And it stopped everybody in their tracks. And they're like, "Holy cow, what?" And it tells you everything you need to know about this guy. And out of courtesy, we have airbrushed it. And I got to tell you, if he won't allow me to talk about it at some point when he's no longer the president, I am going to tell you about it, because it tells you everything about who this guy truly is, who he truly is. And I know it, and I know why I was there, because I know who he was meeting with just about an hour later. And who he was meeting with were veterans, and those veterans, the guy who was who is actually leading that. We were leaving the Roosevelt room, and coming into the Roosevelt room was Tim Kennedy, and he had a whole bunch of veterans with him. And you might have seen the video of him with the veterans where they're taking off their prosthetics and putting him on his desk, and he's signing their prosthetics. I just know who he is. I know who he is.
Oh, we are so close to getting this information. This is not going to even take a month.
I'm not even close.
Day after he came back.
Not even close to telling you what I know from
You've
upstairs.
already walked us down the whole hallway. All I have to do is open the door. You're all the way down there. This is, I mean.
Nope,
right.
I won't.
Like, that was torture. You built up this great story, and then you don't tell us the story.
Well, it is torture because that one I don't have a non-disclosure on. That one is free game. But out of respect, I don't want to say, because I know him. No, please don't. And I'm telling you, that one, I'm going to either be on the phone with him or face to face and say, you've got to let me tell that story.
Is it that he wants to be a dictator? Does he have a king? Does he have a king's crown? Is that what he has?
All right, I give. Mm-hmm. He has a guillotine in his pocket.
A pocket guillotine?
In his pocket,
wow.
Yes, for little teeny heads. Because all of the people that are overeducated and at the New York Times, they have little teeny heads. And so he's got a little teeny head guillotine that he carries around with him all the time.
Mm. I knew that's who he was.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
be in the New York Times in next 15 minutes, I'm sure.
So let's see. Here's something. Search warrant applicants or applications show that federal investigators knew for years about the millions of dollars flowing to Joe Biden's son from Ukraine, China, Romania, and elsewhere. Newly unredacted IRS and FBI search warrants tied to the federal investigation into Hunter Biden provides new details of the information that investigators had in their possession about President Joe Biden's son's business deals linked to Ukraine, China, and elsewhere. Multiple search warrant applications were released, with only some redactions remaining late Tuesday following an agreement between Hunter Biden's legal team and the Justice Department. The government has conferred with subject matter experts within the Department of Justice and counsel to Mr. Biden. The parties agree search warrant applications and affidavits at issue may be unsealed with limited redactions, according to the acting U.S. Attorney for Delaware. She added, the government proposes and counsel for Mr. Biden does not object to limited redactions to protect specific privacy and grand jury secrecy interests. So it's showing now, again, how the government, and this is the thing that I will pound him on a year from now. If we don't have arrest warrants for people who did this, I will pound him on this. And I told him, it means nothing. It means nothing. We change everything, but you do it all through executive order. And you don't clean out the Justice Department. You don't clean out the FBI. You don't clean out Intel. It means nothing because all that deep state they'll just come back. They'll just come back. And he knows it. And he's like, be patient, be patient, be patient. And I'll be patient, but not to the point to where nothing happens. Because if he loses the next election, God forbid, all of this stuff comes back. And it's got to be prosecuted. You know, you want to go after Hunter Biden, go after Hunter Biden. That's fine. Who was it? Who was it that hid all of this stuff? I want to know who was it that hid that we had a vegetable for a president who couldn't do anything. That put our country at risk. I want them in jail. And I don't want them in jail through the dictate of a king. I want a fair, honest trial. I don't want any, quote, trumped up information. I want a real, actual trial based on the Constitution and the facts. And if anyone broke the law, I don't care what party they're from. I want them in jail. That's the only way we save our country. Now, one last thing. I don't know if you saw what made the chief data analysis of CNN go, holy cow. But the Democratic leaders in Congress, they keep saying, Donald Trump is having some low numbers. He's having some low numbers, especially when it comes to the economy. All right. The belief that the American people had that the Democrats would do the right thing in Congress for when it comes to the economy, last year, it was at 80%. Now that number is 39%. That is the lowest number by far in the history of Gallup polling. The lowest previous was 60%. Houston, I think we have a problem. They're about to suffocate in space. They have no idea. This is why Chuck Schumer bailed and said, no, we're not going to close down the government, and why we should have stood and said, no, go ahead. Shut the government down, Chucky. Shut it down. Congress, it's not the day to piss me off. Congress, get back to work. Get back to work. Fix the nation. Work with the president. Pass the tax cuts. Real tax cuts. Pass pass the REINS Act. You won't have to do anything. You just pass the REINS Act. You know why you won't? Because it makes you do your job again. That's why you won't, you weasels.
All right, folks, there you have it. Okay, let's get back here to the description box. And let's move down to Wendy Bell. I don't understand. I mean, there's just so mixed up, back and forth. I hear snippets from the mainstream media, and man, the way they're talking, you would think that Donald Trump he's hated by everyone. I know he's hated by a lot. I know there's a lot of never Trumpers out there, a lot of people with Trump derangement syndrome. But man, how can he actually do what he's supposed to do when you got these judges out there, district court judges, overruling the executive branch of the federal government? How the heck does that happen? I don't get it. At any rate, let's come down here to Wendy Bell. We paid for it. Okay, let's see what she has to say.
Gets better until I moved to a Democrat state in a city in a Democrat state, and I got to see what living with Democrat leaders is really like. And unfortunately, it does have to get worse before it gets better. I don't know how it can get worse. All right. I'm gonna vent for a little bit, if you guys don't mind, because if you live in a blue town, in a blue city, blue state, you're probably going through what I'm going through. Your governor is all about transgender medicine and pronouns and woke nonsense. Your governor in your blue state is all about providing sanctuary to illegals who make us unsafe, put us in danger. Your Democrats, your people, your governor are all about spending money on initiatives that suck. And you and I are the collateral damage at the end. All right, so I've bemoaned the fact that apparently my city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, must have come into some windfall of CARES Act COVID money to do whatever with, who knows. Now, a reasonable person, if they were a mayor of a community, would say, let's prioritize. Let's see what we really need. And let's not try to spend it all, right? Let's see infrastructure. We had a bridge collapse in my neighborhood about 4 years ago, whatever it was. Probably only last year. It seems like a million years ago. Bridge literally just collapses, right? We could spend our money a bunch of different ways. So our governor, or rather our mayor, decides to put in a bunch of roundabouts, a bunch of bike lanes. Ladies and gentlemen, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is the fourth cloudiest city in the United States, okay? If we were to capture days of pure, total sunlight, it would be negligible. I would say probably around 12, okay? We get snow, we get sleet, we get hail, we get rain. At a minimum, maybe you're going to get half of the year that you can ride your bike. So a storm rolls in. Tuesday, big one, knocks over all these trees. Trees everywhere. Not my neighborhood, Brock's neighborhood, all of these neighborhoods. Trees are out. Power is out to 250,000 people. 250,000. And it remains out today, 3 days later, with Brock getting a notice yesterday. Brock, what was that they said to you? Because this is great. This is progress. He has seen not a single Duquesne light truck anywhere near his house. Right? This is our electric company. Not a single truck until this morning that had one dude who didn't look like he knew what he was doing.
It looked like he was lost.
Okay, so what did they tell you? What's your update?
5 to 7 days.
5 to 7 days in the United States of America. Now, look, I'm grateful to the men and women who work these lines. I can't possibly tell you what it's like to have that job. I can tell you that it's completely incompetent to have redone city streets and intersections and put in new plumbing that now gets flooded anytime there's a whisper of wind. Underwater, refuse everywhere, garbage on the sides of the roads, potholes that will absolutely destroy your vehicles, dead animals, decomposing all over the city of Pittsburgh. Because God knows there's nobody out there who can do anything that seems to be of benefit to the people who are now paying 33% more in property taxes because the city elected, the county elected a freaking socialist to be in charge. Okay? I'm sitting on the bridge yesterday trying to get home like a fool. I didn't check Waze. Literally come out of the tunnel, need to go across the bridge, need to get onto my exit. It is a mile away. It took me 40 minutes to get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Bumper to bumper traffic for hours. People were not going anywhere anytime soon. Why? All the lights are out. Nobody knows how to work a four-way intersection when there's no power. People are idiots, right? There are no police officers on the streets directing traffic. It's backed up for miles. And I'm sitting on a bridge and it's going up and down 30 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, white knuckled on my steering wheel because we already had one bridge collapse. Why not make it two? This is what it's like to live in a Democrat city. You have the people. You have the resources, except nothing gets done. It is an abject failure that you still have more than 100,000 people who will be without power. And they tell you, next Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. That's the time. That's what Brock got as a text message from the power company.
Okay, folks, I got to jump in here. And this is the thing. Okay, she's going to talk about her neighbor, her Democrat neighbor. And this is how insane these people are. Now, if I had a politician in my area that was a jerk off, I would not vote for that guy or girl or lady. I wouldn't. But these Democrats are just out of their mind. They have to vote for the most ignorant and idiotic and corrupt person they possibly can. That's their life.
Go ahead.
They updated it 10:30 to 11:30 p.m.
Oh, so you got a window.
Yes.
This is like when you're calling your cable guy to have him come over. I'll be there between, 10 a.m. and next Thursday. This is what we're looking at. Power lines down. Somebody down the street from Brock was electrocuted, getting out of their car. Look, natural disasters and emergencies happen. Isn't this why we have emergency preparedness? Isn't this why we have emergency personnel who we pay to do what they're supposed to do? And now the big race for governor, the big primary. Who's going to be the Democrat this time? Who's going to suck? The question is, are they going to suck more than the guy before? Well, I don't know. Look, you get the government you either elect or you allow other people to cheat for. Whatever it is, if you have a Democrat mayor or a Democrat governor, you know exactly what I am saying to you. I don't expect anything to be cleaned up anytime soon. Trees scattered all over the place. Big, downed, whole trees. Brock had to come to my house yesterday with his freezer, right? His freezer of steak and chicken and most valuable things he was going to lose. Can I come over and bring it over? Yes. Brock, what did you see? What did you have to navigate to get to my house?
I saw 3 trees down, just down in the middle of the street. I saw 3 different trees being held up by wires.
3 days later.
3 days later. The thing that grinds my gears is that they knew it happened. They called it unprecedented. This 10-minute storm was unprecedented. And it took the governor 2 days to declare a state of emergency, even though he's declared state of emergencies for possible snowfall.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what it's like. Now, I really don't know what I need to say to my neighbor, Bob, on the corner. Bob, who has blooming in his front yard a bumper crop of Democrat suck candidate political signs. Hey, Bob, everybody that you want to win is part of the problem. You, Bob, are the problem. Do you not see what happens at the intersection right by your house? Oh, he does. Because Bob scurries out whenever there's even a whisper of rain. Because if any leaves come down, they all get clogged in this new irrigation system in a roundabout that didn't fit to begin with. And Bob hurries up with his other liberal neighbors to clean off the grates of the sewers that were just installed so everybody can be ADA. Okay? Look. We pay too much. We work too hard to accept incompetence, abject, dumb ideas, wasteful spending, zero accountability, total garbage promises. I'm going to do whatever it takes to fight Trump. That's what the guy running for the primary is saying now. Really? Because last time I checked, my man, everything you guys touch turns to crap. Thank you for obliging my 8-minute rant on why living in a Democrat hellscape encourages people like me to want to get out. You guys can deal with it. I'm done. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, perhaps the best video of the day, you're going to love it. You're going to hear it. You're going to feel it. And if you're watching the live stream, you're going to see the images that you need on this Friday. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
All right, well, let's just move it forward here and see what she's talking about here. But unbelievable, folks, how these Democrats. Now, if the situation was reversed and there was a Republican, now you're not going to hear anything about this in the mainstream media. The only way we know about it is through Wendy Bell. But had there been a Republican in charge, a Republican mayor, can you imagine how much just mind-blowing derangement there would be over that? Unbelievable.
I don't know. Traveled, and this is where the nothing. Take weeks, blackouts, the very probably.
All right,
Price of the every food, pleasant man.
Here we go.
I just want to say to my neighbor Bob, who's a very nice guy. Bob, very nice guy, keeps his yard tidy, pleasant man. I don't know if he's a Cupid doll of me or whatnot, probably not, but he knows who I am, obviously, in the neighborhood. And I want to say to him, dude, you vote for all of the same people. All of your services have fallen to crap. Every bill you have, every utility you have, every service you use keeps going higher and higher and higher. The service is for crap. And you've been told basically this is the new normal. They expect you just to be beaten into submission. So you just go along with it because the bureaucracy, the phone mill that you're going to get, the phone tree you're going to get when you call to complain or when you go to complain is more maddening than just sucking it up and slipping through it that people don't protest. we don't rise up. Well, I don't know. When your city comes to a complete blackout standstill, when there are streets that are impassable because there are giant trees that are down, like, I get it. It's going to take time. But do you think it should take weeks? Do you think it should take months? Do you think in the United States of America, a bridge in a relatively well-traveled area that's not that old should have collapsed? No. The beautiful thing about the messaging on the other side, and this is where the solace comes from, the wheels of progress, the machinations of success, chipping away at all of the nonsense and replacing the bureaucracy and all of the various offshoots of the federal government, streamlining things, cutting out the waste, making things better, anticipating problems that will come, and getting the best and the brightest in the right places so that the machine of the United States of America operates smoothly. Just 100 days in, this White House puts out a message because the media will never give it any kind of attaboy or job well done. Thank you for closing the border. Thank you for respecting our military. Thank you for supporting families. Thank you for being a leader. Thank you for delivering on your promises. So the White House puts out a video, and it, I dare say, is exactly what you need as you wrap up a busy week of media BS. Enjoy.
President Trump kicking off another busy week at the White House.
It has been yet another eventful week in Washington.
The activity level is off the charts. The president dialed in. He is executing his agenda at a lightning fast pace. Here's something we rarely see in American politics. President Trump is actually keeping his campaign promises, and he's doing them as quickly as possible.
This administration is moving at political light speed, and they're just getting started.
We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do what I'm doing. Goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Official, former President Donald Trump will be running for president again in 2024.
Donald Trump got the stamina and the will to do this again? He's come under such tremendous...
Everything is on the line in this election.
A busy day in the campaign world up in Butler today. Former President Trump holding a rally at 5 o'clock.
He just tried to kill President Trump.
Not even an assassin's bullet could stop him.
It feels like the climax of a superhero movie. The first act, up 2016. The second act, 2020. The third act, he almost dies. And then what happens?
Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
Rare in American politics, a presidential sequel.
He believes he has a, quote, mandate to bring common sense back to the country.
It's our time to take up the righteous cause of American liberty and begin the most thrilling days in the history of our country. This will be our greatest era. With God's help, over the next 4 years, we are going to lead this nation even higher, and we are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth.
He has the opportunity to reset everything around the world.
Under President Trump's leadership, the message to America's enemies is loud and clear. Peace through strength is back.
No amount of hysteria, no amount of fear-mongering is going to shake the president's resolve.
This is the wholesale destruction of the liberal state. He is gutting liberal Washington, D.C. in a way that they say could be permanent.
47 means business. The White House is holding all the cards.
I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success.
The bottom line is whether you like Trump or you don't like him, you can't say that he's coming and not try to deliver, and he's doing so in historic fashion.
A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before.
We earned that on November 5th. You and I, we earned that. You need to feel that. You need to remember that the same way I do. The reason why we played that for you right here, after bemoaning what it's like to live in a community with great people and so much promise that has fallen apart. And it pains me. I don't want to leave. And I don't want to leave like this. But I'm not sure the state that I love can be saved. Now, isn't that sad? On a national level, we've done something remarkable. But now the ripples of that action have to spread to every city across the fruited plain. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, 100 Days with D.O.G.E, the sit down, what they found that you will absolutely not expect. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on here, folks. Let me click on this Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell.
Done.
All right, I'm following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's get back here to the description box, if I can find it. Okay, here we are. Now, again, let me give... okay. Again, let me share with you the information that I have in here. These videos come from these producers, Chicks on the Right, Devory Darkins, Glenn Beck, Wendy Bell. These are my videos. I share these videos directly from the producers. And I get no commissions or royalties for sharing this information out. I just try to put this together to give you a wide range of information that you're not going to get on the mainstream media. Let me know if you think that you'll hear the information that I shared with you tonight on any of the CNN, MSNBC, ABC. You might hear a little bit on Fox, but the thing about Fox is there's a lot of times they leave things out that are important. You know, they'll tell you part of the story, some good and some bad, but they lie by omission a lot of times. Okay, let me check out the chat here tonight. Okay, we got Debbie BS. I do like getting to see you. Well, thank you, Debbie BS. I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and copy this in. And yeah, thanks for reminding me, Debbie, because I would like to get some feedback from you folks, if you would, how you like this format. I mean, this is something new. I know it's a little different, but this is an opportunity for me to actually share this out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. I haven't got that quite set up yet, and on True Social. And I haven't got that quite set up yet, but I'll be working on it. I started working on this like yesterday. I've been busting my buns trying to get this figured out. It's really different, but I think I like it. It's a little bit more difficult than the way I was doing it, but then again, hopefully I can share this information out to more people. And that's what it's all about. Okay, the thing about it is that Wendy was talking about in Pennsylvania and in Pittsburgh, I know that there are a lot of Democrat people that have thrown their hands up and said, man, this is not for me. The Democrat Party has left me. And come over and voted something other than Democrat, whether it be independent or Republican. But, you know, if you've got 10 people in a room, 5 Democrats and 5 Republicans, and they all vote the straight ticket, you know, it's going to be a tie. But you get one Democrat to say, either I'm not going to vote or I'm going to vote for a liberal, then the Republicans win 5-4. if you've got one Democrat that says, you know what, I think I'm going to vote Republican this time, that's like 2 votes, because then it's 4 Democrat votes and 6 Republican votes. So one Democrat vote that switches over is like 2 votes. Instead of being 5-5, it's now 4-6. So the Republican win by 2 votes. And that's the reason that I'm doing this, is to try to, maybe somebody will hear it that's normally a Democrat, where they've not heard this information before because they've been listening to MSNBC or CNN or whatever. Okay, I try to find good information to share it with you. And I would appreciate it if you would give me some feedback on this format. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Now, I did my daily news wrap up, my live stream throughout the night. That was done in Rumble Studio, so I'm going to try to do that again tonight. There's a few little glitches here and there that I have to work around. Maybe it's just because I don't understand Rumble Studio well enough. I've only used it for 2 days. But the setting it up with my placeholder, I'm going to work on that. My placeholder that runs, before I actually start the live stream. I'm going to work on that. But over here on Murtech.com, where I do have over 55 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos, I shared you 4 of the videos that I have posted here on Murtech.com. Right there's the one from Devory Darkins. Down here, Wendy Bell is the video that I shared with you from her, and also from Glenn Beck. It's right up here. It's in alphabetical order. So this information that I share with you does come directly from the producers that I created. Also, as I showed you here, if you click on Wendy Bell, the names of the channel are in red. So if you click on the name of the channel, it's going to take you directly to their site. See, this is the last video that Wendy dropped. So right here, this is the last video that she dropped. So when I provide you this information, I try to provide you with the most updated information. But the reason that I'm telling you this is because I can't share all of this information in the hour, or I've gone a little bit over tonight, all of this information within this podcast. So I do have the marathon live stream, my daily news wrap up, that I will get started probably here about 9:30 or so. I need to go in and update my playlist, get my Rumble Studio set up. So I'll be back with you folks, and it would be nice if you join me with that and give me some feedback. So I do want to thank you for your time. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later. And may God bless.